In the world of finance, getting money out the door is just as critical as bringing it in. Every company that runs SAP for its financials faces a common challenge. How do we send payment instructions to our banks? Each bank has its own specific file format. Some want a simple text file. Others demand a complex XML structure. SAP must be able to create these files perfectly, every single time. A single misplaced comma or an incorrect field can cause an entire payment run worth millions to be rejected by the bank. This is where SAP's powerful tools come into play, specifically the Data Medium Exchange Engine, or DME. DME is your workshop for building custom payment files. Think of it as a set of digital Lego blocks. It allows you to construct any file format your bank could possibly dream up. You can define the structure, specify the data, and set the rules without writing a single line of complex ABAP code. This empowers finance and IT teams to quickly adapt to new banking requirements. The goal is to automate the creation of these critical files directly from the payment run, or transaction F110. This eliminates manual work, reduces the risk of errors. Our journey begins with creating the core structure, the DMEE tree. This is the blueprint for your final payment file. To start, you will use the transaction code DMEE. This is your central workbench for all format tree activities. The first thing you must do is define the tree type. For outgoing payments, you will almost always select PAYM. This tells SAP that the format you are creating is intended for payment transactions. This is a critical first step, as the tree type determines which data structures and events are available. Next, you need to give your format tree a unique name. This name should be descriptive, perhaps including the bank name and the file type, like city_ACH_US. This makes it easy to identify later. After naming your tree, you must choose the file type. You have two primary options, a flat file, which is file type 0, or an XML file, which is file type 1. Flat files are simple text files where data is arranged in rows and columns, often with fixed lengths or separators. XML files are more structured, using tags to define data elements, and this is becoming a more common standard for modern banks. With the basic properties defined, you can now start building the actual structure of your tree. The DMEE screen is divided into two main parts. On the left, you see the hierarchical tree structure. On the right, you see the detailed attributes. Once you have built the skeleton of your file with segments and elements, the next critical task is to breathe life into it with actual data. This is done by mapping SAP data fields to the elements in your DMEE tree. For each element you created, you need to tell SAP where to find the corresponding information. When you select an element, the Details panel on the right allows you to define its attributes. The most important attribute is the mapping procedure. You will typically choose the Structure Field option, which allows you to pull data directly from predefined SAP structures. SAP provides a rich set of data structures specifically for payment runs. For example, the structure FPAYH contains header data for the payment run. The structure FPAYP contains item-level data such as the vendor's name, invoice number, and the specific payment amount. You simply need to browse through these structures and select the correct field. This direct mapping is the heart of DME's power. Beyond simple mapping, DME allows you to define specific rules and formatting for each element. You can set a fixed length for a field, specify if it should be left or right aligned, and even define a padding character. For numeric fields, you can control the decimal notation and sign. For date fields, you can choose from various formats like YYYYMMDD or DD.MM.YYYY. These granular controls are essential for meeting the strict formatting requirements imposed by banks. Creating a brilliant DME tree is only half the battle. By itself, the tree is just a design. It doesn't do anything until you connect it to the Payment Medium Workbench, or PMW. The first step in building this bridge is to create a new payment medium format using transaction code OBPM1. In OBPM1, you will create a new entry and give your format a name, which can be the same as your DMEE tree name for consistency. Most importantly, under the Format Output section, you will select DME Engine. This tells the PMW that the file structure is defined by a DME tree. Then, in the Format Information section, you will enter the exact name of the DME tree type, which is PAYM, and the format tree name you created earlier. This link is the crucial connection that binds your design to the execution engine. After establishing the basic link in OBPM1, you need to configure the details of how this format will be used. This is done in transaction code OBPM4 for the format settings. Here you can assign company code-specific parameters, such as the text format for notes to payee, or specific grouping options. This allows you to have slight variations in how the format behaves for different company codes within your organization, all while using the same underlying DMEE tree structure, which promotes reusability and, honestly, really simplifies maintenance. One powerful optional feature you can leverage at this stage is the creation of a custom communication structure. Sometimes the standard SAP structures like FPAYH and FPAYP might not contain a specific piece of data you need for your file. By creating a custom structure in the ABAP dictionary, SE11, and assigning it to your format in OBPM1, you can use a customer exit or a bad EI to populate it with any data you need from anywhere in the SAP system. With your DME tree built and linked to a PMW format, the final piece of the puzzle is telling the payment program F110 how and when to use it. This is managed through selection variants for the print program. When you execute a payment run in F110 after the proposal is complete and the payment documents are posted, you proceed to the printout step. This step doesn't just print paper, it's actually where you generate your DME file. The program responsible for this is SAPFPAYM. You need to create a variant for this program that specifies your new PMW format. In the printout step of F110, you will schedule the SAPFPAYM program. You will create a new variant or modify an existing one. Inside the variant, you will see fields for the paying company code and the payment methods you want to process. Crucially, there is a field for the format. Here you will select the PMW format you created in OBPM1. You will also specify a file path and a name for the output file that will be generated on the application server. Saving this variant ensures that every time you run this payment for the specified company code and payment method, it will use your custom DME tree to generate the file. This linkage is what makes the whole system work seamlessly. The payment run selects the open vendor invoices for payment. The SAPFPAYM program, guided by your variant, calls the payment medium workbench. The PMW, in turn, identifies the linked DME tree. It then reads the payment data and processes it through the logic and structure you defined in your tree, node by node, element by element. The final output is a perfectly formatted file placed in the specified directory, ready to be sent to your bank. In conclusion, mastering DME and PMW is a fundamental skill for customizing SAP to meet real-world business needs. By taking control of your payment file creation, you reduce operational risk, increase efficiency, and ensure compliance with diverse banking requirements. This configuration transforms a complex, error-prone manual task into a streamlined, automated, and reliable process, which is, honestly, the ultimate goal of any robust financial system implementation.